Up 8 spots from 35 to number 27 on my fancy playlist, April 23rd, 1990. We got Roxette. It Must Have Been Love. And gosh, that third number one hit, The Look went to number one. Reasonably sure The Look went to number one. And Listen to Your Heart. I believe that's the name of that song off that album. I wrote down, yeah, Listen to Your Heart. I think went to number one off that album. Look Sharp was a huge album. It was Roxette's was their big American breakthrough. They had been charting in Sweden for a number of years, for several years, before they got popular here in the States. As a matter of fact, It Must Have Been Love started out as a Christmas single in Sweden. AMI Germany, they came up to Roxette and they asked them to write a song, write a Christmas, an intelligent Christmas song, quote unquote. And Roxette wrote It Must Have Been Love. And the subtitle was Christmas for the Brokenhearted. And Roxette, they sang that record where they lip synced it. It was on a Swedish chart show, 1987. They were sitting on the couch, lip syncing the song. That was the first video to that song, It Must Have Been Love, by Roxette. Went to number 4, number 5 in Sweden, but was not released internationally. Virtually unknown outside Sweden. But that will change. Oh, it changed dramatically like you wouldn't believe by 1990. Now, by 1990, Look Sharp it just blew up here in the States. The album, Look Sharp. The Look, Dress for Success in the spring of 89 or summer of 89. Remember that one? That was a great record. Wasn't one of their biggest hits, though. Listen to Your Heart. There was Dangerous in late 1989, 1990. And now we have It Must Have Been Love. It Must Have Been Love. It was re-released here in the States. Touchstone Pictures. They were finishing up a romantic comedy. Pretty Woman. I'm sure you remember Pretty Woman. You've probably seen the movie starring Richard Gere and Juliet Roberts. And they were working on a soundtrack to the movie. And they came up to Roxette. They were like, man, you're having an amazing run of success with this album. You guys are on fire. How would you like to contribute a song to the soundtrack of our movie? This new movie we're going to come out with, Pretty Woman. And It Must Have Been Love was reworked just a little bit. It was edited. The Christmas references were edited out, and it was replaced with something else. And it was their third number one hit. It went to number 3, number 4, number 5, top 5 in England. It was on the British singles charts for 14 weeks. Number 1 in Norway for 3 months. It Must Have Been Love. 3 months, number 1. My goodness. By Roxette. The soundtrack, it was the biggest song off the soundtrack. Billboard ranked It Must Have Been Love the second biggest single of 1990. It was right behind, the scintillating Hold On by Wilson Phillips. Yes. They came up with some great pop records too. Wilson Phillips, yes, indeed. And the movie, Pretty Woman, it grossed, got a quote from its gross, $460 million. And the soundtrack, triple platinum, sold over 9 million copies. Probably some of it due to the fact that the Roxette single was so big off that soundtrack. And it's moving on up on my fantasy playlist. And pardon my English, it is hauling ass up my fantasy playlist. Or pardon my French, rather, on my fantasy playlist from number 35 to number 27. It Must Have Been Love, fantasy playlist, April 23rd, 1990.